When it comes to anime and manga, series that have very well written female characters always have a soft spot for me, especially when it comes to shonen. In shonen, it's not too uncommon for there to be a bunch of teenage boys or older male characters who stand out as being absolutely amazing or being memorable characters. However, in Chainsaw Man, the character of Makima is a female character who not only grabs your attention from the very start of her introduction, but she continues to hold your attention as the series progresses, building towards one of the biggest WTF moments in this new era of Shonen Jump history. Makima is a character that, as I've spoken to people who've read Chainsaw Man, they either love her character or they hate her character. Those people who love her are in my line of thinking that the compelling aspects of her character make her interesting enough to overlook the terrible things that she's done. However, those who do not like her, they hate her character due to just that. The lines she's crossed are downright unforgivable, which is exactly why I think Makima is a brilliantly written character. Anyone who can get such a strong set of reactions from readers, evoking emotions clearly intended by the author when the setup for the major Makima plot twist occurs, it's a character who served her purpose for the story, and at the heart of the story, in my opinion, is part of what makes Chainsaw Man stand out from its peers that have recently been in Weekly Shonen Jump the past few years, or even Jump Plus itself. Makima is deceptive, she's controlling, and she can be a bit of a bitch, and she's unapologetic about it, and she won't hesitate to manipulate a situation or a person if it's something that's going to bring her closer to her goals. Though Chainsaw Man was a very short manga, less than 100 chapters, the time that we've seen Makima as a character makes me place Makima in my own personal holy grail of shonen antagonists. Aizen and Yu Haba from Bleach, Madara from Naruto, Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin, Shinobu Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho, Naraku from Inuyasha, and now you have Makima from Chainsaw Man. That's a very good list of characters to be associated with because each of those antagonists left major impacts on the world in which they served as the antagonists for their respective series. Each of them has done enough that they're iconic for the most part, and Makima, in my opinion, stands to ascend to that ranking once Chainsaw Man grows more in popularity once the anime comes out. Part of what makes her villain status so iconic is that she manipulates the series protagonist Denji while also making readers wonder if there was perhaps something off about Makima this entire time. Once she reveals herself as being the true villain of the story, she doesn't let up her foot off the gas, and she serves as a tremendous source of tension and conflict, two very essential elements that a good story needs. When you first meet her, she's working as a public safety devil hunter, a group of devil hunters meant to eliminate threats caused by devils and resolve issues that are related to devils. She appears in front of Denji during a serious low point for him as a character. His pet dog Devil had been cut up alongside himself. Both of them were seemingly dead. He'd just gone on a rampage after being resurrected after making that contract with his pet dog Puchita, and he was in a state of confusion when Makima revealed herself to him. It made him prime for manipulation, and that's the brilliance of Makima. Manipulation and seduction, and that's why in that moment right there, when she offered him an ultimatum, she had already sunk her claws into Denji as a character to where he didn't even realize he was being given an ultimatum. Makima had already drawn him into her web. Makima combines both the art of manipulation as well as the art of seduction, and she does so flawlessly. Most people understand what manipulation is. By definition, it's the exercise of a harmful influence over others, taking advantage of a person's mental or emotional state of mind to create an imbalance in power in the relationship in order to gain control over a person. The more closely formed a relationship is, the better the manipulation has the potential to turn out. However, when it comes to the art of seduction, that's where Makima truly shines the brightest. Seduction isn't about just creating sexual attraction between two people, despite what a lot of people believe. That is a surface level definition of seduction, and the way Makima combines seduction with manipulation is what makes her character so deadly. She's attractive and she knows that she's attractive. Seduction at its truest essence is the ability to manipulate situations and people in order to achieve a desired outcome, oftentimes by creating an intense desire that has a distracting power over a person. A seduction pro understands themselves and what traits that they possess that make them seductive towards others. They have a high emotional intelligence and they have keen observation skills to understand their target, and they're able to use that information to create an opening that makes their target lower their defenses, which in turn allows them to be seduced. Makima understands it and she's unapologetic about it. Denji, the protagonist of Chainsaw Man, isn't the only person that Makima has seduced. She has quite a few characters wrapped around her fingers. She's hot and she knows she's hot. She's intelligent enough to know when to use her feminine charms to hold sway over others. Just the thought of sharing a kiss with Makima is enough to make Denji do her bidding at several times. However, Makima uses seduction in more than just physical looks and attraction. To reduce Makima to only being the eye candy type of seducer is to severely downplay the cerebral nature of her seduction methods and her character itself. Makima is intelligent enough to understand part of what makes a great seducer is that they can do three things. They can master the art of surprise by constantly shaking things up on their target. They can understand which of the 9 different categories of the art of seduction they fall under, and they master those traits to a T, and most importantly, they know which of the traits that they possess that need to be suppressed so as to not turn off their target to the seduction. In the art of seduction, the author, Robert Greene, lays out the foundation for 9 different types of seducers. Makima as a character embodies a few of these because she understands the importance of finding the patterns in her targets, but also embodying the tactics that she needs to break through their defenses. She understands that switching up the aura of excitement is her way of getting through to Denji, and she does this both by creating an aura around her that makes him focus on her, while also wanting to learn more about her and playing hard to get to an extent. She plays up the certain elements of being a siren, which can be interpreted as being a symbol of pleasure for a man, and the aura around her adds that fantasy of Makima that Denji doesn't realize that she's created inside of his head, which is because she's also played the role of being the ideal lover, another type of seduction. The ideal lover understands the broken, ugly side of reality, makes people poised for manipulation. Denji died at the very beginning of the series in a traumatic way, and his pooch Pochita died alongside him. The pact that the two of them made was something strong enough that Makima knew that she needed to go this route, which is something that she picked up on right away. But because she came to Denji during this fragile state of mental mind state for him, Makima was able to place him with an ultimatum, and Denji at the time did not realize he was being manipulated. Makima purposely began introducing Denji to new experiences and played up the fantasy of being a potential escape from the disappointment for him, which was shown by that strong sense of emotion that Denji first had towards her. For Makima, combining those two elements with being a coquette, i.e. the master of the art of the bait and switch, allows her to place these pieces on the table for her to manipulate things as she saw fit. First, she uses her seduction of Denji only to pull back and assign him to the public safety Devil Hunters group. She kept teasing him over and over, only to pull back at times in order to get her way. Teasing with hints of potential romantic or sexual relations to Denji. At times, you can even view the teasing to be something of Makima teasing a mother type of relationship to Denji. But regardless of how you interpret it, she always pulled back at times to threaten to have him destroyed, maintaining that power over him. Eventually, working the situation where she had Denji set his sights on the gun devil with the promise of her fulfilling any one wish made by him. Classic coquette actions by Makima, which is why her employing tactics of the charmer as her final method of seduction is so deadly effective. The beauty of Makima's deception is that she's able to make Denji and others around her feel comfortable to the point where when they're in her presence, she's already sank her claws into them. They don't become aware of the knife that she's getting ready to have plunged into their back until it's too late, and oftentimes they don't see it coming. The reveal that Makima was a dire, hard fanatic of the Chainsaw Man, the famed hero of hell, and that she wished to use her power to one day control the Chainsaw Man, who had a power that allows him to wipe out all traces of existence of a devil. The reason why this fascinates me so much is that Makima's goal of wanting to get Chainsaw Man is a reflection of how gifted her overpowered ability as the control devil is, but also how that gift is a curse. Much like Ada in the Boruto manga, who can't form true relationships with people due to how her powers of enchantment work, Makima really can't create a meaningful relationship with others because of the powers of the control devil. Someone so manipulative and so cerebral at the end of the day had one of the most human elements to her, despite the fact that she crossed so many moral lines that we as humans tend to uphold as being moral values. She wanted a real family and she wanted those relationships, but the power that Makima wields is a double-edged sword that actually prevented her from having those things. The reason being is that Makima is downright busted. If she wants to control someone she views as being beneath her, which is pretty much everybody for being honest, she can make them do whatever it is that she wants. It doesn't matter if you're a human, you're a devil, you're a fiend, you're you're an animal, Makima can control you. She will control you to the point where she can make you form contracts with devils that you had no intention of forming contracts with. When it comes to Makima, what's yours is actually hers, because using her chains, she's able to channel the power of those under her control, and her power control doesn't just stop there. She's able to control the emotions of people as well. You could absolutely hate her in one breath, but then after she controls you, there's nothing you can do to prevent yourself from falling for her. Even when a person truly wants to fight back, they're pretty much under Makima's control, evident by what will no doubt be an iconic scene with Makima, Power, and Denji, where Denji opening up the door is going to be one hell of a meme. That's in a way tragic though. Someone like Makima with the power like that isn't able to know what true love and true bonds feel like. It's a beautiful price to her absolutely busted power. It fits something that we've seen in literature ever since man has discovered the art of storytelling. Powers like this almost always come with a trade-off, and this is one of the reasons why I enjoy Makima's character journey. On one hand, we've seen her be able to kill people with a single gaze, kill them by pointing a finger at them. She's been shown being able to take hearing from animals and listening on conversations that otherwise Makima shouldn't be privy to, which is another thing that makes someone like Makima so dangerous. It's bad enough that she has multiple ways to kill someone, brutal methods at that, but when you add in the fact that she doesn't have any problems gaining intel, it makes Makima a very dangerous character. The only real effective way that we've seen people being able to get around this power of hers is when people have literally wrote down on a piece of paper, "Do not talk," because Makima is listening. And perhaps what's the greatest display of Makima's power, Makima is ridden with this aura of dominance and mystery when she decides to kill. My personal favorite moment being when she gets the name of her target, has everyone wear blindfolds, and then she speaks their name. Right after that, the person is destroyed in an utterly gruesome way that makes you realize that Makima is not someone to be played with. She's smart, calculated, seductive, and she's also got the power to match each of those traits. Those aspects of her character make Makima join the ranks of shonen antagonists that I've mentioned earlier, because it gets to a point where part of you wonders, for the briefest of moments, are they going to actually win? And the way that the character is written, there are a bunch of moments that stand out that truly make you despise the character, which for Makima, in my opinion, is the moment where she makes Denji open up the door with power on the other side of it. It's the moment where I personally felt waves of disgust and betrayal towards the character, but she's so charismatic I had no choice but to continue reading, and dare I say it, I even found myself rooting for her. The reason being is that Makima is a character that manages to tap into what I believe is the dark corner of humanity that we all possess. If you ask most of us, we'll all say that we're good people. We don't like to think that we aren't good people, but even good people can't resist the sight of carnage. In the days of the Roman Empire, you'd have people line up to watch the gladiator blood sports. In the modern era, we have boxing and UFC. Even in everyday life, when there's a car crash, we can't help but, for a fleeting second, when we get the opportunity to, our eyes always go to the crash scene looking for the source of the violence. Makima is that flame that draws us in. We know that we're getting too close to the flame. We know that the flame will be the end of us, but we can't help it. And ultimately we're drawn to it, and by the time that the flame is destroying us, it's become such a beautiful tragedy that we can't help from escape from it, which is fitting given how Makima is eventually taken down. However, those are just my thoughts on Makima as a character. I'm honestly not too sure how I feel about the whole devil control arc ending and the whole thing about reincarnation, but since this is the end of part 1 of Chainsaw Man, it might be one of those things where we just have to wait for part 2. However, I want to hear from you guys. If you love Makima, let me know why you love her down in the comment section, and if you hate Makima, let me know why you hate her down in the comment section as well. But so always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.